Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to my live. It is Thursday, August 24th. I hope you guys are having an amazing week, considering the fact that summer is going by so fast. So right now you're hearing the sounds of Cohiba Rico, and this is his record, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. I want to thank everybody for tuning in early. I see ya. Thank y'all for tuning in. So we're going to have a dope interview with Cohiba. And you know what? To be honest, he's been doing music for a minute, and I've been going through his tracks, and I love that. Like, when I have a catalog I can go through, he got 3 albums that I saw on iTunes. I'm like, all right, you working. Those are the artists I love to talk to because there's so many tracks I could talk about, so many visuals, and that's what it's all about. You got to keep going. Don't take your time. Just go in. Do what you do. Hey, what's up, Tommy? What's good? Yeah, man, I like to see artists working, you know, and it's good for me to be on these lives because I took a break and I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm getting used to this again. You know, I was doing the quarantine time talk, and after that, I was like, ooh, what am I supposed to call it? Because we ain't in quarantine no more. Thank God, by the way. Don't want to go back, but whatever. If we do end up going back, God forbid, at least we know it's going to be called Quarantine Time Talk. But the point is, I decided Sicarah show because that's what I like to do anyway. Hey, shout out to Soulful Tip. Shout out to Johnson Burrows. Thank y'all for tuning in, and everybody else on the live. Yes, Goddess Arwani. I love that. Yeah, I think Cohiba Rico is such a fire name. I did not know that Cohiba was actually like a cigar. I don't smoke, so I don't really know too much about cigars or anything that has to do with smoking. I'm like foreign. That's completely foreign to me. So anywho, I'm excited to talk to him about that, and I'm gonna assume that he smokes cigars on a regular basis. I don't know, but we're gonna get into all of that. Yes, what's up? And it's so cool that he got a song with Gino Mondana, and it's called Rican. I really love the title because I'm like, oh, okay. Let's see if you request. Mondana, he's with Foreign Side, and of course, everybody knows Fabio Foreign. His music's dope too. Shout out to OT9 Bino. We did an interview a while back, so I'm very familiar with them and their music. So that's dope. I love to see artists collaborating.
Yeah.
Hello.
What's up with you? How you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. What you
So we're waiting for our guests to show up and tune in, and then we're about to do a live interview with them. Cohiba Rico, he's a dope music artist from New York City and Jersey.
all right. I'm from Jersey.
Yup, from both parts. But I mean, we appreciate you tuning in for sure.
Yeah, I'm tapping with you.
Oh,
That's what you be doing? You be doing interviews and shit like that?
yup, definitely.
That's what's
So
up.
they're all on my page. And then also, if you're an artist, you could DM me, and we can also like set something up as well.
Right, I'm gonna holler at you.
I bet.
Hey, yo, Snacks, I called you. Call me back, bro.
Alright, guys, join in. Oh, Cohiba Rico is on now. But yes, guys, if anybody wants to do an interview, definitely DM me, and I'm gonna get back to y'all. Sometimes it takes me a little bit, but don't worry, I definitely check my DMs. It's just sometimes not as soon as you send it, because I don't be on all the time. But I'm getting better with that. And then we're going to get into also not only the music videos and the songs, but the album that he dropped in 2022. I was like, all right, that's what I'm talking about. That album got 21 songs, which is really impressive. Because as a music artist, I'm like, yeah, I know you guys have a lot of songs, but it's hard to put all of them on one album, and basically trying to figure out like the flow and the order and all of that. So I was really impressed that he did that. And the other 2 albums he dropped before that, he did not drop as many songs on there. So I definitely want to get into what made him drop so many tracks, which is fire. All right. Oh yeah, I'm looking at everybody. I'm going through everybody's name. This is kind of dope to see who's in here. All right. Yes. Shout out to Ania Bay. Yeah, this song is hard. I like the song. Again, this one's called Rican, if y'all haven't heard it yet. I actually do have a favorite song, which I did not play yet. I think I'm going to play it when we start the interview. Let me actually pull that one up for y'all. The beat is hard, too. I was also thinking, I mean, obviously not today, but I might start playing songs that I feel is kind of dope. Songs that people should know, because I listen to underground music a little bit more than I listen to other artists, and that's really just because I feel like on the radio you hear so many of the same songs. Like, how many times can I listen to the same record? I'm like, I'm not even interested anymore. And to be honest with y'all, I'll download songs when they first come out, and then I listen to them, and then after a while I'm like, okay, I'm not interested anymore. Like, I don't want to hear it. And then I'll wait like 2 years later, and then I might re-download the record. It's just because I got tired of it. I'm like, okay. They always play the same song. So annoying. So I might put y'all up on some of the artists that I listen to now. By the way, the songs that if I do a live and I not show y'all some of the songs I listen to, they may not all be new. But that's okay, because, like, think about it. Lola Brooke, when she dropped her music, like, it wasn't until, like, a year later, a year and a half when it, like, hit. And then I was like, oh, I've been listening to that. It's mad artists where it's like, I've been listening to that. Yeah, exactly. Underground records are the best. I feel the same exact way. Like, it's my favorite to listen to them. And plus, sometimes they be more original. Yeah, y'all gotta check this music out. Like, it's dope. I downloaded a couple of songs when I was listening to it, and I don't do that all the time. Sometimes I just listen to music and I'll be like, all right, it's cool. But there were some records I definitely was like, all right, I'm definitely gonna tap in. Okay, let me view the request. We're about to get started. This one's called For My Brothers, by the way. The song that y'all hearing right now is called For My Brothers. Hey, what's up?
What's going on? Tapping in.
Yes, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Pretty good. I see you with the hat, the fashion.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm actually wearing this hat in honor of my brother that just passed away, my man Cohiba. A lot of people in the industry know him. He was like my uncle, so he used to always rock a hat like this, so that's my vibe today for the last few days.
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss.
Nah, we celebrate life. It's a beautiful thing. He was a great person.
Right. I hear that. Definitely. It's always good to celebrate.
For sure. Not to start it off on that kind of note, but yeah, you brought up the hat, so you gotta keep it real.
Yes. And you know what? When I do research anyway, I be looking at everything, like pictures, videos, all of that. And I never saw no hat like that. So
I noticed you was breaking down my music too, so I was like, oh, she really was listening. She's really tuned in, so I appreciate that. That's what's up.
yes,
That's what's up.
definitely. I was talking about your name too, Cohiba Rico, and I was like, well, is he smoking cigars? Does he always smoke cigars? So we can talk about that because I was curious.
Yeah, we can start there for sure. Well, Cohiba, I'm Cuban, right? My whole father's side is Cuban. So with that being said, there's that aspect of like I do smoke cigars, and then a Cohiba is a Cuban cigar. That's like one of the main brands. Like that's like the ace of spades of cigars, low key. You feel me? So on top of that, there's that aspect of like, you know, you could say not that we are looking for smoke, but you know, there's that aspect of like being with all the smoke or whatever, however you want to look at it. And then there's that aspect too of, you know, there's a lot, majority of people in this country, no matter where you come from somewhere else, right? Especially our parents, our grandparents, right? So as long as there's a positive side to their reasonings for that, those types of people can understand. Like in Cuba, there's an embargo with the country, right? They're communists. America doesn't mess with them. You can't have a Cohiba in this country, even though it's tobacco is illegal. It's actually illegal to have a official Cuban cigar in America. So there's that aspect of like, you know, everybody got haters, especially when you do this kind of shit, when you're trying to excel, level up, and be your best self. So there's that side of like, you know, some people don't want me here, but I'm here.
Okay, I get it.
And I'm smoking. chilling. Word. So
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I was like, okay, well, he ready for the first question. He already smoking. I'm like, it don't
of
look like a
course.
Cohiba, but we gonna talk about it. We could
Yeah,
just
yeah,
go
nah,
in.
just a regular split with grabber today on my New York shit. So word.
Nah, I feel you. And it's legal, so you smell it everywhere. It's literally
That's it.
everywhere you go.
That's it. Well,
Yes.
it's still not legal in some places. I'm actually not in New York right now. I've been OT for like a year now. I've been out of town doing my thing. I've been down south and shit, just trying to re-strategize, network, meet other people. Word. So that's been going real
Okay.
well too. Word.
So that's interesting. Like you say that because I was wondering when I was listening to your music, does your Cuban background or your environment, like you said that you came from like New York City and Jersey, like growing up, did that influence your music at all?
Absolutely. I mean, we could start. I've been making music since I'm like 13, but I came up in a family like always. It was just always some kind of music, always, just always. And I actually grew up in Long Island, like for like the high school years, right? So I went to high school out there, and
Okay.
I was always doing music already anyway, and I was me regardless, and I would always visit my family out in the city and be linking with people out there or linking in Jersey. So I was always doing my thing. But as far as like between that and then actually being in the city full time, I moved to Washington Heights, Fort Lee area when I was 18, like right out of high school type shit. I moved in with my family out there full time, and it definitely took my music from here to here. Just there's a difference of being around it and then being embraced in it 24/7, and it's a difference when you're doing what you love by yourself in your room or just with your close people, and then when you really go outside and you branch out, it's a whole nother vibe. So no matter who you around, so it definitely was a whole like I was just inspired all the time by the good and the bad. You feel me? Yeah.
Right. And you definitely speak about that in your music. Like, I was really shocked, but like in a good way, how vulnerable you are in your lyrics. I'm like, all right, that's dope because a lot of people want to hear like what somebody been through because we like to hear the come up story. And there's so many lyrics that I like, well, not so many, but there's a few that I wrote down that I wanted to discuss with you because I really
Please
admire the
do.
fact that you're real.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna start off with most of us, we come from welfare and we ready for warfare. I live and I die for this. I had to decide to win, and that's from the song For
For
My
my
Brothers,
brothers.
which I played earlier. So,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, like, was it tough for you in the beginning to be so vulnerable with your music?
It was actually. I used to be more on some like, and not to say that I don't do it now, but I used to be way more on just like braggadocious bars. Be as fly as you can, talk as fly as you can, and like, that's cool. Like, you still got to do that. That's that's part of it. And I got plenty of records, or I'll go into that real quick or whatever. I even have some songs that just focuses on that. But I remember I had a close friend of mine tell me one day, they was like, yo, but Cohiba, you got a story, bro. You kind of be sleeping on your own story a little bit. And it was like, you should delve into that more. Like, and I guess I just started doing it little by little as much as I could. But I think when life got really real on an adult level too, that's when I had no choice, because it was either like go further into bad mentalities and bad cycles, and that could even include quitting music altogether,
Mm-hmm.
or go all in, say it all, don't hold back, don't think people are gonna think this or think that, because we all know as listeners, like when it's real, you can feel it.
That's so true, and that's why it stood out because in multiple songs you said something along the same lines, like different bar, but it was all consistent in messaging. So
Right.
I was like, oh, okay, so it's real. Like, you know, I know it's real. So I think that's dope that you got people around you who tell you the truth. Like, hey, like maybe I don't want to tell you to change your music, but for them to tell you like you're sleeping on yourself, that's good. You need people around you to tell you the truth. So that's dope that you got the right people around you. You know.
Absolutely. And you know, in our communities and stuff, especially in our music, like I make drill music. That's not all I make, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
make drill music, and I know that scene very well. And I started to see things real different. And to be honest, it was when I was in a raid. I just keep it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I get.
with people we know and respect too, like that's in the music game doing their things. It don't matter who really, but you know, I was moving and shaking with certain people, and we was coming up, and then this happened. And I remember just thinking to myself, like, all this could end before it could even kind of get started.
True.
And not even that, I just started to see like we like to embrace the negativity, right? Like, yeah, we embrace it, but that doesn't mean we have to promote it, because I like to think 95% of us was in certain situations, probably even way worse than mine, right? But if they had a choice, or if they could have picked a different something before they got here to this earth, they probably would have,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So sometimes being a product of your environment, like everybody respects a soldier in war, a veteran, right? But nobody respects a gangster. They just a gangster. They just a street nigga.
You know, that's a really good point. Like what you said, because I guess it depends on the person too. You know, like it's weird how, like, I hate to see the army veterans and people come home and like they don't have nothing, and I'm like, how? Like they fought for the country, and not every human being
Right,
is trying to
but
do
when
that.
they go in the grocery store, everybody salute them.
Right.
But in our communities, when somebody come home after 10 years, we love them as we should, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if they walk into the grocery store with a sign on their head that says, "I just did 10 years, I need help on reform,"
Mm-hmm.
oh, nah, he a jailbird, or oh, he this, oh, he that.
Right. Right. I guess it depends on the environment too, like
Is
where
that
you
too? It
at.
all depends, you know. But it's not me saying that, oh, I'm the biggest gangster or the biggest street. It's just me saying, just from that level or that perspective, I started to see things in a way of like, I started to feel more righteous about it, instead of like I'm angry at the world and I'm out here doing this. I'm like, nah, 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 nah. The
Right.
marathon continues type of vibe, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I just started to catch it in a way, you know. And it's
And I think that's dope.
thank you, I appreciate that definitely.
You're
And I
welcome.
don't know if this ties in either, but it's funny how like right after I moved down south, like literally a few weeks after, I heard little TJ got shot. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, I don't know. He's not like my friend on a personal level, but I have met him in passing. I've been in the same room, so you know, just when it happened in the same spot in Jersey along the river where I used to go smoke all the time by myself. That was my safe spot.
Oh wow.
You feel? So I started to look at it like, how is we getting out of the hood, but we're not getting out the hood?
That's so true. That's so true.
And you know, aside from other things I was going through, I was like, you know what? I may not have this or that right now, but with that being said, I got an open window to get the fuck out and really figure this shit out. So that's kind of where I'm at now with everything. But you know,
Yeah, I
yeah,
get that. It's good that you like change your mindset. You know what I mean? Because I feel like growing up sometimes around certain people, they're gonna push like do this way, but then in reality, you get older and you like, wait, but this actually makes your life harder, not
it's a
easy.
day-to-day thing. I seen a 50 Cent interview once, and he said like, I mean, rest in peace, Pop Smoke, for real. But he said it was get rich or die trying, and Pop Smoke died trying to get rich. I didn't die. So sometimes there's a level of like, is we gonna listen to the OGs, to our elders, the people that we say we respect, or are we gonna keep thinking we know everything all the time?
Mm-hmm.
And things I was already listening to and fucking with and paying attention to, I started just listening to deep, like just on a way deeper level. And I guess because I had to, it's fight or flight. Like, what is you really doing from here? You know?
Right. Yeah. And I do feel like your music is really touching on topics that people they talk about a little bit, but they don't go deep in, you know? And I think that's good with your music. Like you go deeper into it. Like even Happy Gilmore Flow, that's the song I downloaded. Like I heard it and I was like, oh, I actually really like the vibe. Like that's like not aggressive. It has like a smooth tone to it. And one of the lyrics that stood out to me was Happy Gilmore, I make you feel more like you in a mansion, not the projects, like you in the hills more. And I was like, yeah, that's dope.
Yo, thank you. I appreciate that. It's crazy because I wrote that when I was down here. Because not that I'm living in the hills or I'm living in a mansion, because I'm not. But you know, for the same price of living in the Bronx, you could get out the hood and really live a little bit better. You know, things are newer and places are more up and coming. You might have a little piece from the trauma you see every day when you go outside or when you've been outside. So it's rich is a feeling. I learned that too. Rich is a feeling, and peace is, you know, you can't buy peace.
Right.
And I feel like I know a lot of people in the game that's doing numbers, and I know they don't have peace.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that means I don't want those things, but you just got to know that with more money, more problems. And sometimes if you don't have no money, to avoid some of those problems, you should go where your money's going to be properly invested instead of doing the rat race. Because you know, it's the rat race.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those things where everybody is kind of trying to get in a certain place, but right, you want to get there the right way. And that's why I wanted to know, like, when you make music, how do you want to make your listeners feel? And what do you want people to think when they hear your name?
The second one was really good. The first one, how do I want people to feel? I want them to feel like they know what I'm saying is real, even if they can't relate to it, or even if they don't fuck with it. Like, I just want them to be like, okay, this is a piece of artwork, not like, oh, he mumbling or oh, he this. I love every type of music. I'm just saying for me. And how do I want people to view me? Just real. Just as a real man. That's it.
Okay.
Real artist. Yeah, that's it.
And the second part of the question, like when they hear just your name in general?
When they just hear my name. Like one word type thing or like?
Yeah, like just quick, like real quick.
One of them ones, like, just real. Like,
Okay, one of them ones, that's a good one.
yeah, like, real. Like, one of them last ones. Like, something you don't see no more.
Mm-hmm. Right. I get that. Shout out to everybody.
You haven't seen in a while. Yeah. Shit like that.
I like that. So, like, you know, obviously it's the 50 years of hip hop. So I gotta ask you, you're talking about people that you haven't heard in a while. So let's go there. Like, who are the artists that really stood out to you and, you know, like inspired your music career?
I mean, am I saying my top 5 or am I just loosely going through some?
Yeah, I mean, if you have your top 5, you could definitely say your top 5. Some people just give like 2 or 3, and I'll be like, okay, well, you know, whatever.
I'll tell you right now, my top 5. It's could be in order too. Fuck it. Jay-Z.
Okay.
We got Jay-Z. We got Big. Lil Wayne. And this is just bars. Like, I could say different people. Like, I could even see, we could say Jay-Z for the business, too, but then I'm going to talk about 50. Like, there's a lot. I'm going to just talk straight, like, music. It's Jay-Z, Biggie, Lil Wayne, Drake, Joel Santana.
Wow.
Bust your head with that list.
Yeah, okay. You know where I'm going first. I know you know.
I don't. Go ahead.
Okay. And no shade, because I listen to Joel Santana a lot, but I haven't heard him in the top 5. So I gotta know.
Yo, because Joel was one of the first artists that I looked up to as far as, like, swag and, like, drip and, like, just, he was young at the time, and I was real young, right? Like, if I was 13, he was probably 18. I'm 18 and live a crazy life, right? You feel me? Like, shit like that. But he was young enough to look up to at that age. I was like, oh, shit, like, maybe I could be 18 with a Rolls Royce and shit, like, rapping my ass off. So I didn't get the Rolls Royce, but I was rapping my ass off. Like, right. Yeah, it's kind of a nostalgia thing for me, but at the same time, you can't say he not that nice. Everybody know that.
Yeah, he definitely got bars and classics for sure. I was just like kind of surprised because I was like, oh snap! Like I didn't hear Pac, but I heard Jewels. So I was like, okay,
yeah.
So we go in there first.
The thing is too is like peak of me listening to Jewels a lot, like because he dropped that God Willing album back in like 2013 or 2012. Okay. I remember I went to SOB's one night and I met him that night, and that shit always stuck with me because I was the first rapper I got to tell like how much I fuck with him and shit like that. Fast forward like 10 years later now, this was a couple months back, maybe a little over 6 months ago. He had posted on his page that he was looking for people to get on a song with him, so he did like one of those free like if I like the verse, like I ain't gonna tell you to take it down. Like, go ahead, do it.
Oh, okay.
And so I took the opportunity to just throw a verse on it. Like, I'm sure a lot of other people did. It was a free verse. But I did my thing on it, and he followed me and liked it and showed love in the DM. And, yeah, so, like, from that moment, I could never, like, that's the first rapper I showed love to, and that's one of the first rappers to show me love.
That's
crazy.
Dope.
It's full circle. It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a dope answer. Like if there was any answer that I was looking for, that was it. So okay, 100% respect that. And I wanted to, since you're so vulnerable, do you have a song that was hard for you to make? Because I know like all those artists you named, they got them tough songs where you know with some emotions behind it.
Tough as far as angry, definitely.
Okay.
Tough as far as like sad. There's a few. I don't think I've ever broken down crying after making a song, but I think I definitely like, I had to take my hat off and put my head down for a second. Like, damn, I just really got that off like that.
Mhm.
For sure. Yeah.
You care to name it or is it personal?
No, it's not personal. I gotta think. I gotta really think about it. To be honest, for my brothers, after I did that was something it wasn't sad. That one was just like, I can't believe I just said it like that. Like, I just really painted that picture how I wanted to. I got a song called Certified. It's actually about a friend of mine that passed away at the end of last year. We called him Certified. I actually met him through Fabio Forrest. That's, that was his security guard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but we had a very mutual respect for one another, and he knew I was different. Like, he always tell me, like, on the side, like, I know your time's going to come. Just, like, ice up.
Right.
Do your thing. Stay patient, you know. So I made that song, and I said a line in that song. I said, I lost a lot of people in these streets. Hold my soul purified. I met a lot of people in these streets. No one like certified.
Oh, wow.
And when I said it like that, I don't know. It was just very honest, and I didn't even know I was gonna make that song in that moment. We just picked the beat, and I knew I was gonna go somewhere with it. And he had recently passed, but it wasn't like it happened yesterday. It happened already probably like 3-4 months prior at that point.
Okay.
But that's just what came to mind. Like, that's what the beat told me to say. Like, I don't know. For me, there's something about, like, I don't know if it's literally, but they say there's that, like, hear colors and see sounds type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. When I hear beats, like, I used to write. Like, I still write all the time, but I used to really, like, I might crumple it up and throw it out or write to the same beat in 3 different ways, like when I was younger. Now it's like, the only way I can make a good song and find the pocket of the beat is let the beat tell me what to say. But it's in a way that it triggers something real inside me. You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
It's got to vibrate different. It's got to hit different. Like, it's funny, I keep bringing up all these other people's interviews, but I remember an old Lil Wayne interview. He said, if I don't like the beat within 30 seconds, next beat. If I don't already know what I want to say, like halfway through the song already in my head, next. I'm kind of like that for the most part. Sometimes it depends, but for the most part.
I get that too, because I feel like when you're rapping, it does switch depending on like the type of mood of the song. Like I could say when you did the song with Gino Montana, which I thought was dope, you know, clearly you have some connection with Foreign Side. I'm wondering if it's because of your friend now that you said all of that, because I like shout out to OT9 Bino. Like I interviewed OT9 Bino before, and you know I went to Gino's party last year, so I'm very familiar with their music, so that was kind of cool. And I was like, okay, how did you guys link? Because I wasn't expecting that when I was looking through your catalog.
Right. And it's funny because, well, I don't know if you remember, but you and I go way back low key, like Fashion Week vibes. I used to see you around, and like you took a couple of pictures of me, like when I was first stepping into that realm of the fashion, and I always remembered you.
Yeah, were you with Damon? Because that's what I was thinking. Every time I was looking at your pictures, I was like, I think of Damon. I'm like, I might have met him through Damon, but I remember.
I remember seeing you with Foreign Side too, and I don't know, like I would always kind of just say what up to you, and I wouldn't be sure if you remember me, but you was always mad cool, like regardless. But yeah, it's funny that now we doing this. It's real dope. But as far as Foreign Side goes, I'm sure you, like, it's normal for people to get on interviews and just say what's real. Like, we not in the best place right now, me and them. Like, we're not on the best of terms. It's because of business, right? Business misunderstandings, like big miscommunications. But I said a lot, they said a lot. We all kind of did a lot. But those are my brothers. Like, I lived with them. Like, I spent holidays with them. I went through some mud with them. Like, you feel me? Just like, yeah, certain things, you know, when it's just business and just words, it's, you know, that's still my family. You feel me? Like, under the right circumstances, I could move forward with it. You know what I mean? In whatever way that makes sense, if that were to happen. You feel me? I can't say the same for, I can't speak for everybody else. Some people might hate my guts right now. I don't know. But I respect everybody and what they're doing, and I just want the same mutual respect. I'm doing my thing. But, you know, again, without getting too negative, because I'm at peace with everything and everybody really right now. But some of there were misunderstandings creatively, and I felt like some of my stuff was being taken advantage of, some of my creativity. And, you know, there's some platinum records that have Alicia Keys and Kanye West on them that's not all me, not even close to all me, but there's a little Cohiba sprinkled on. There's a little tobacco sprinkled on top. You feel me?
Yeah, that was a huge record. That's like one of the songs that when I started the live, I don't know if you heard it, I was like, there's certain songs that are played a million times.
yeah, and you know, there's again, I don't know. To this day, I really don't know who knows what. Like, all I know.
Oh, I actually don't hear anything. I heard I don't know who knows what, and then that's it.
And I didn't get a chance to get too personal with certain people, because by the time the situation got to them, it was already like I was already distasteful, and it just, you know what I mean.
Mhm.
So that's how that went, but
Okay,
yeah,
yeah. I mean,
it's all love. It's all love.
yeah. I mean that does happen, especially when it comes to business. And you know, like I was listening to your music, especially that song, and you was like, had to sleep on the floor. I ain't even have a mattress, and I was like, you know, I was curious to know how did those times influence you musically? Because sometimes it's very hard to pursue something when you're dealing with other things going on in your life, you know?
It is hard. Again, that goes back to like I live and I die for this. Like I already know I die for this, so am I gonna live for it?
Mm.
You gotta decide to win. I said that in For My Brothers. I said I had to decide to win. If you listen to other records, you'll hear like you gotta decide how to pick. Like I've been picked apart. You feel me? But you know,
Yeah.
everybody gets their time, and I believe that stuff will come back around in a positive way. You feel me? Like it's all good. But
Definitely.
yeah, but those times you gotta embrace it. Like again, for me as a creative, the pain was so strong. There's nothing else you could do but put it to
Mm.
the mic or put it to the pad, whatever, put it to your phone, whatever, to get it off. Like you have to. Otherwise, that shit will kill you on the inside. As an artist, if you paint and you don't paint, you're gonna bug out.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, that's why I wanted to ask you, like, COVID, did that affect you at all? Or was it easier because you could just put all that frustration and confusion that the world was going through in music?
Believe it or not, it affected my life in so many ways, good and bad. But musically, it helped me more than ever at the time. Believe it or not. Shout to Fluff Jones and DJ Rush if they tap in, whatever. Them my guys. Like during the pandemic, they gave me my first show that I had in a while. Because for a few years, like I had a son, I was dealing with certain things, like you know, full time job, hustling, being outside. Like I was always doing a lot.
Mm.
Like always had my hands in different things, in all things. So there was a time where I never stopped going to the studio. I never stopped creating, right? I just said I would have died inside. But I wasn't performing. I wasn't really like taking it to the next level for a certain period of time. And when the pandemic hit, I went, okay, I guess, you know, there's all these like, you know, against the lockdown showcases and parties that everybody's doing and events. I figured that was the time to start really stepping. And from there, I met Foreign Side and everybody, slowly but surely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny because by the time I got around to Fabio, niggas was like, oh, he know everybody already. Like he been knew this one and this one, but now he know us all together. Like it's things do happen for a reason, I think, even when there's fallout. So that's where I'm at now. I take everything with this is just where we at. And as long as there's no crossing the lines, it's just business. And sometimes business doesn't always go as planned. So if you're really about business, you're going to stick to your business. So that's, you know, I didn't let it discourage me. I don't hate nobody. You know what I mean? But back to what you asked, though, sorry that it keeps going back around to
It's
that.
okay.
Yeah, it's like a lot surrounds, you know, that era for me. But yeah, I started really performing a lot, and I started linking with them, and it just got way more like things started picking up a lot, and I started doing fashion week and all those things. Like I just started really meeting a lot of people, and the dots were connecting. But as far as like in a bad way, of course the pandemic was crazy. Like I had to rework my whole life. You feel me?
Right.
Like word at the same, like at one time, like I lost my grandfather at that time. So like, you know, where we come from, you know, living with your family, you know, things like that. It's not unusual where we come from, regardless if you got paper or not. Like, you know what I mean? You might take care of grandma, you might do this, you know, or you might just be lucky enough to where you got a 3-bedroom crib in the P's, and your family don't really care as long as you're doing something. So, you know, not saying that it's a like, oh, that was my only option. That's just what I was doing at that time. I was with my family for a long time. And when I lost a family member, my whole situation switched up.
Right.
And at this time, I'm performing, trying to figure out, like, you know, I'm hustling too at the time, you know, however I can, trying to get it, especially because I wasn't working. I did construction for like 7-8 years. I was always doing something. I always had a job and a hustle and multiple hustles. That was me. So when that dropped, I was like, yo, it's time. Are you really going to do this or not? Because the world, the universe is giving you the open pass now. The road's open. What are you going to do with it?
Right.
So, yeah, so I just, next thing I know is it's like when you take that leap of faith, you could say it's God, the universe, however you want to look at it, but you're going to get caught, like, by a safety net. If you take the leap from a faith standpoint, you'll find your way. Protect yourself, and that's it. You'll find your way. Next thing I know, I'm with certain people in certain rooms, and it's seeming more tangible. Like, I went from feeling like I could taste it to feeling like it's really right there, like it's about to be mine. Like,
right.
You know?
Yeah, I get that.
And that's what, yeah, for sure. And for, like, I keep that feeling with me. Like, no matter where I am, I could be in Alaska all by myself. I know where I've been, what I could do, and I could do it again from wherever. And that's another way I was able to kind of break that self-imposed matrix of like, damn, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Shit's changing up. I know I got some bread and some options, but I gotta stay here. No, you don't. Like, city knows you already. Not that I'm like, you know, not fuck my city and not like, oh, I'm famous already, but the right people know me to where they'll look at it as branching off, not falling off. Like, you know? So
Yeah, just switching it up a little bit.
So I took that opportunity to switch up and just refocus and just come at it from a different angle. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. Like, I want to portray, I mean, not even portray, it's like just showcase that no matter how bad it gets, you can switch it up before it's too late. Because then there's that fine line. And not even that, you don't have to, even if you want the chains and the cars and the this and that, like, you don't need all that to feel stable or to feel like you can get out the hood for a little bit. Even if you don't want to move, go to Miami for 3 weeks. You feel me? Like, just go do something. Like, figure it out. The block ain't going nowhere. Like, certain people ain't going nowhere, and that's it. Like, you got legs. You feel me? Home don't got legs. So when you a kid, like, you know, the bird gonna push the other bird out the nest, so you gotta let yourself fly at some point. So whether it's, you can't wait around for a deal, or if you feel like certain situations ain't working out for you, or certain people, or certain things, it don't always gotta be for like the worst reasons or with animosity. Sometimes it's like, all right, this ain't working right now, so I'm gonna do this because this makes sense for me.
That's a good point. Yeah, no, that's so true. And I like the fact you mentioned faith in there as well, because you have a question that came from Johnson Burrows. Let me pull it up.
Johnson Pros,
Um,
what up, my guy?
yeah, he said it, he asked it a while ago, and I was like, all right, we're gonna get back to that. But by the way, shout out to everybody that is in the live. I appreciate y'all.
Right. For sure,
Yeah, so
appreciate that.
facts. And I'm trying to find it now. There's like a lot of comments in here. But basically he was talking about Cuban people. Oh yeah, ask him if he is tapped in on any level in the Yoruba Santeria faith commonly practiced by many Cubans. That was his question to you. And you mentioned faith. So I was like, all right, we're
I'm
gonna
gonna tell
go.
you something. I'm gonna tell you something in Spanish that is very. Que se sabe no se pregunta. Like what you know, you don't even need to ask. Like if like what you know, like you don't need to ask. I don't need to take my stuff out my shirt type of thing. Like you could see it on like, of course, like certain things are touchy in this industry, right? So I like to just say que se sabe no se pregunta, and God is love in all aspects. That's my answer.
Okay, fair enough.
Word.
Uh, yeah, I always try if anybody asks a question, like a legit question, I try to get it in and ask. So
Of
I was
course,
like, oh, okay.
but we come from where we come from. That's it.
Okay. Okay, that's
Word.
fair.
Yeah.
So I did want to ask you, like, right now in Canada, COVID cases are rising, right? And like, I hope we don't have a lockdown again. But if COVID did somehow happen again, is there anything you would do differently this time versus the last time?
In any way,
Yeah, like any way in general.
I would probably be more vocal online. Like I'd probably be using my video platform. Like I'd probably be doing more videos talking out against it, speaking out against it, and like the truth of what, like, you know, that's another thing. Like everybody kind of know, like, there's a lot to like. It was more than what they made it out to be. Let's at least say that
Okay.
to a degree, right? On some level. In my opinion, personally, like, I'm not a mask wearer. I never wore a mask. Like, I kind of knew from jump. For me, I see it like, damn, it's a touchy subject, right?
I mean, it
I
depends, right? It depends on what you say.
Yeah, it's more so. All I'm saying is I feel like it wasn't the plague.
Okay.
I didn't feel like we was like humanity was about to be wiped out. That's all I'm saying. Was it a real thing that was affecting a lot of things? Sure. What would I do different? Yeah, I guess like when I say speak out more, I guess just make people more aware. Like, not everything has to be taken so like. It was a little bit of a robotic time. Like everybody was scared to like go outside and like go get some coffee type shit.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, and now we all see 2 years later we all fine.
So, in other words, you would go outside, like you would be vocal, but you would also like be outside more.
Yeah, like damn, you got me with this one. That's crazy. Even my phone fell. That's how true it is. I'm telling you, I would be outside. Fuck it. Like, I was outside anyway, and I would just encourage that from people more. Like, all right, if you feel like you got to wear a mask or wear some gloves, like, fine. But, like, go outside, bro. You're not going to breathe one time and take your mask down and breathe and then drop dead. Like, and maybe certain people with certain conditions, I understand that part. And some people did lose people due to COVID. And,
Mm-hmm.
respect to all those people. I don't mean it in a tender kind of way. It's just on a regular standpoint. If you don't have that those vulnerabilities going going on. Like, I don't think it was that serious to just go outside and go congregate somewhere. Like, maybe it's to capacity, sure. Like, you know what? When we was allowed back outside again, there was the capacity and certain things,
right.
like you couldn't back out a room too much. Okay, cool. To me, that's how it should have just been from the jump. I think that's really what I'm trying to say. Like, take precaution, but, like, we wasn't about to all be, like, done for.
Yeah, I mean, the reason too why like I asked about that is because I noticed with La Cosa Nostra, which I do need a translation by the way.
Huh?
Um, that album you dropped like 21 songs with several features, and I'm like, is that because like during the pandemic you was writing a lot or you had time? Like,
See, now this is crazy. Well, let's start with the title. La Cosa Nostra that's the Italian mob. Like, that's what they called themselves. Like, La Cosa Nostra, this thing of ours. That's what it really translates to. But for me, I named it that not because I'm an Italian mobster, because I feel like if you listen to the first, it's not even a track, but the first thing on the album is a skit of Jay-Z
right.
from another interview, and he said all kings get their heads cut off, and he was saying, you know, people look at you strange, say you changed, like you worked that hard to stay the same, and you know, no matter where you from, they remind you ghetto. Like, you feel me? And so to me, it's like you could, as automatically in certain spaces, you say, oh, I'm a rapper. He must be a crazy guy, or he must be like, you know, like this or like that. Whatever stigma might come with that.
Okay. Yeah.
And sometimes people don't want to look at you as refined. They want to look at that. But we all got some of that. Like, we all got some shit. Some worse than others, for sure. But it goes back to what I said earlier. Some of the best people I've met have done some of the worst things, and I truly mean that. And I don't mean that they did the worst things on purpose. There's a thing called self-defense. There's a thing called acquitted. There's a thing called product of your environment, circumstances. There's a thing, like, you feel me? There's a thing called reform. There's a thing called changing your life.
Right.
And again, it even goes back to my name, Cohiba. Like, my grandfather got deported from this country 3 times. He came back here 4 times.
Wow.
Went through a river up to his neck with his suitcase on his head. Like, you can't tell me that if you was in communist Cuba or third world Africa or Palestine where there's bombs going on, you wouldn't do anything you can for your family too. You can't tell me if you wasn't trapped in the fucking rainforest and you needed to figure out which bug had enough fucking protein to eat, you would eat the bugs first to make sure you don't die so that your kid could eat it and maybe keep running. Like, you can't, like, most of us, we come from welfare, and you know we ready for warfare. Not because we want war, but we, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody want war, but when it's time, it's time. Let's see you on the front lines or you not. Like, especially for yourself, especially for your loved ones, then what is you doing? Why are you here?
So basically, would you say those tracks, like you put so many because it's all related to that topic?
Well, I was just saying more so on the title. I was still on the title aspect that, like, no matter what we've been through, damn, it even reminds me of, like, Favi, actually. I'm going to just say it. Like, my niggas crippin' for a cause. Like, you doing this for a reason.
Oh, actually, I don't hear you anymore. I heard you doing this and then nothing else. Okay, we hear you now. You broke up after you said you doing this.
I quoted Favi. I said, my niggas crippin' for a cause. That's from his song Trust. Like, I bring that up because it's in relation to the same thing. Like, not everybody has done bad things, bad righteousness sometimes with doing what's mean. It's La Cosa Nostra to you, but it's love and family for us. And sometimes just being a rapper is like, oh, he probably sags his pants, or oh, he probably hurt somebody, or oh, he probably sold drugs. And even if he probably did, you'll never understand why unless you was there. So, you know, it's La Cosa Nostra, like even just to do music now. Like hip hop is the #1 music for, let's call it 50 years now. But still, you can't rap without being looked at like that. Unless you, from us, you could tell the difference between the Childish Gambino and the, you know, the most thuggish rappers. You know, the backpacks versus the street rappers. You know, but that's where I bring it. I try to touch on those topics that's like, it, you know, we not all fucking savages out here. It may seem savage to y'all, but I never was in Vietnam. But you talk to me about, let me talk to a nigga from Vietnam right now, he gonna tell me that shit was crazy. Ain't gonna be like, oh, that little block shit is whatever. Like, there's bombs going off and all this shit. Like, all right, then you gotta respect it. I don't know, I wasn't there.
Sure, right, exactly.
Okay.
But I get what you're saying. It's things
how many army people, how many military people you know was in war and probably killed babies, and they ain't never gonna talk about it, and you don't gotta talk about it, and you still gotta salute them and say thank you for your service. You know why? Because as hard as it was for them to do that, and I'm sure they probably had PTSD, nightmares. That they not psycho. They was doing it for a cause, for their flag. So really, you know, the system, they understand it. They created it. We just trying to survive in it. But then when we do, you know, it's just how it's set up. It's just how it's set. Like,
yeah, I see where you're going with it.
Around, it's Tupac. I see no changes. Like, okay, you want me to be La Cosa Nostra? Then I get, all right, cool. We gangsters? Then we gangsters. Like, however you want to look at it. Take that. All right, cool. All I know is I've been through some shit, and if I didn't have to, I wouldn't have.
I get that, yeah. So that makes sense for why you named it that. It's like things that you went through.
Right, like this rap shit, this hip hop shit, this gang shit. You can look at it however you want to look at it. Take it for what you want.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't understand, you know, if you don't understand us when we on the radio, that's your problem. Obviously, it's #1 music in the world for a reason, because the world is in pain, and you know, hip hop is raw.
Yeah, I think it's finally getting its recognition. Whereas before, I think it was more frowned upon. Now, still, I guess some people have like those thoughts, but I definitely feel like it's more widely accepted because of artists like Jay-Z.
It is, absolutely. But I've even, like, you know, how do I put it? Like, I guess it's just a matter of, like, again, no matter how much you present something different, if they have some kind of a notion that you've been somewhere else, that's what you are.
Right, I guess yeah, depending on the audience.
Right, but that's it's a middle finger to that audience that doesn't understand, because this is our thing, the Cosa Nostra. If you were doing hip hop, no matter who you are, all right, then this is our thing. We understand each other.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and and so we, you know.
I hear that from people sometimes where they say like it's too violent or too sexual, and you know, Yeah, it's interesting because it depends on people's backgrounds and things like that, for sure.
Right. And even, you know what? I'll even bring it into just hip hop where it happens. This is gonna fuck your head up. On a drill standpoint, you got some of the older artists. Some of them, they don't fuck with the drill music. They don't
Right.
understand, right? And I get it. Like certain real disrespectful things in video, like they talk about the pissing on graves and all that crazy. Yeah, that's wild. That is savage. You living up to the name that they want to give us, right? So there has to be another spin on it. We have to get more vulnerable as artists. I think especially if you're doing drill music, there has to be that spin of like, but damn, I didn't want to be doing all this. But they
Right. The other
even
side.
by the system, them people they looking at it like, oh, this is what they want to be doing. They crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just feel like even with drill music, some of these older artists are like, oh, this is all they talk about, it's good bow and this and that and this and that. But that's what's going on in the streets right now, bro. This is what's really going on. So, is there a way to reform it and refine it and trim the edges and maybe even make it grow to a more mass appeal? Sure. But does that mean we as artists, especially in this realm of artistry, can't divulge our pain? Then what the fuck is we doing? This is what we go to the studio for. Most of us, that's what I think.
That's a good point. Yeah, you wanna say how you feel and what you're actually experiencing. And if that is what you're experiencing, you should have your own outlet to say it. So that is an interesting point to bring up.
For sure, is it freedom of speech or is it not?
Mm-hmm.
And would you rather somewhere? And I think the better message can come across. I do my best to make that come across not corny. Like, I'm not Jay-Z where I got $1 billion to show for it right now.
Right. So you're
You
not gonna
feel
rap
me?
about that.
So there's that part. I don't have the $1 billion to show you that it can work from my standpoint, but I could show you how it's working one song at a time, one topic at a time, and I could show you growth. Or I could stay stuck and be a statistic, and that's it. So
Right. We need to stop for sure.
yeah. So it's just like how you hear a lot of the younger artists now. I feel like a lot of artists now were really catching on to like how to make money off of this shit, financial literacy, especially in the industry we're trying to be in, right? Or already in, however you want to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But with that also comes that street literacy too, like knowing when to change, knowing when your moment has come, like, or knowing when, like, okay, I've been talking all this content in this way for the last 6 months, but I feel like it's getting a little hot for me, and I don't want to end up a K-Flock or this or that. So let me balance it out. Let me, even if you don't feel, if you're not at the point in your mind where you're understanding the bigger picture with the, where you could talk about the nitty gritty stuff in a certain way with another twist and a positive message, then just talk about something positive altogether. Get on a drill beat and talk about a bitch. Sorry, pardon my language, but get on a drill beat and talk about Roof Chris, bro. Like why does it's just a drum pattern. And this is like drill music is just like in 2002 you're gonna say 50 Cent was making drill music. How to Rob. That's drill music.
Oh yeah, I remember that song. Yeah.
You breaking down a robbery. How's that not drill music? It's just a beat, and they just dubbed it drill music because we saying the word drill now, so they just call it drill music.
Okay, like that. Those are some interesting points.
It's just another way to hate on us as we keep breaking through the cracks. The music keeps surviving. Another 50. Let's go another 50 years. That's why I just brought up 50 Cent. All right, let's go another 50 years. Can hip-hop get rich or die trying? Clearly it can because we here. But
yeah, definitely.
Can you keep your riches? That's everybody wants something, but can you keep it? Whether it's a spouse, a car, a job, an amount, whatever. Can you keep it?
Right. Yeah. I mean, the music is deep because there is a lot of genres. And then also dealing with like Atlanta rappers when that came up. Yes, drill. Somebody saying drill is from Chicago. Yeah, I know there's different styles
For
all over the
sure.
place. Jersey got their own thing. So yeah, respect to like everybody, and
He's right.
even
It's just
overseas
easy for me to
too.
speak on our city. That's why. But he's right. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was just speaking more so where our city's at. But he's right. We could delve more into that on a larger scale if you want. But yeah, continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's good. But yeah, I mean, these are all like really good points and things that I don't think people talk about enough or think about enough because technically, the music, it is people expressing how they feel and they have gone through certain situations that they would like to talk about and people do relate to it. It is a very big, thing to hit 50 years. A lot of people had said too, they didn't think hip hop was going to make 50 years. And then when you think about us losing like Pac and Biggie, it's like, wow, that's
It was
crazy.
all
Like,
a dream, right? Never thought hip hop would take it this far. Okay, so here we are. So what is we doing with it? So it's like, okay, drill music is alive right now, right? And some people say it's kind of dying out, this and that. Maybe people are just sick of hearing the same song. It's not the content; it's the same song. Switch it up, it's just a drum pattern. What you talk about is what you decide to talk about, and going back to even me saying like how music triggers certain parts of your brain, like, okay, change the fucking undertones that's behind that drum pattern. Make a happy drill beat. Not saying it's gotta be happy per se, but like, change the instrumentation, change the feel. It doesn't always gotta give you that good
mhm.
bow. Maybe it could just give you that like, oh word, like I'm on an island chilling right now. Good bow, like like just in a different. It's content, it's context. It's all about the context of it. Like it doesn't all have to be on go mode all the time,
Right.
Like let's go get to the bag and let's go on a vacation and let's go stay safe and let's go make our loved ones rich too. Like what are we doing? Like
Right. And I'm all for that. And so that's to like my final question. What is your ultimate goal with music?
my ultimate goal with music. My ultimate goal with music. I want to laugh. That's for sure. Like, I keep it all the way 100 with you. Like, I feel like we haven't seen a big artist like Drake since Drake. I don't want to sound like Drake. I'm not talking about music, but I want like who's blown up like that since. Pop Smoke could have been that. He was close.
Yeah, like
Like a
stardom. Like,
sensation. And not because you're so much better than everybody necessarily or anything, just more so different in a way that is, we just haven't had this yet and we got to eat this up because it's resonating. So I feel like even just this year, people been saying hip hop's been a little boring. Yo Gotti just said that. It's the first
mm.
year that we haven't been number one on the charts. No album's gone number one on the charts this year.
Oh, I heard that. Yep.
And it's the 50th year. So then, that could just be the Grammys being the Grammys. You know what I mean by that? Like, but,
Hmm.
or Billboard being Billboard, you know what I'm saying? But, like, at the same time, if it does come down to, like, the culture, then it's missing something right now. And it could be, who knows what it is. But I do feel like I got something to offer. And I do feel like it's a little overdue for me due to my own doings and other circumstances as well. But here we are, and I feel like that's what I want for now. But you asked the long run, so yeah, I want to laugh, and I want to be able to pass the torch. This ain't a selfish thing. Like when I was younger, yeah, I mean, not to say it was ever selfish, but when I was younger, it was all about like I want to make it. I want to tell myself I could do this. Like I could actually be a rapper because I said I could be a rapper. Like people think I'm good. Okay, lit. They think I got bars. They can fuck with it. I bet. But then it gets to a point, especially with the struggle aspect and life kicking in and all that stuff, it starts to make you really sit back and be like, well, what am I doing this for? What is the cause? What am I living and dying for? Am I living and dying to just go to the studio because I like it so much? Yeah, I like it so much. But am I willing to live and die for playing PlayStation? I don't even play PlayStation. So I'm not playing games. I want to change lives. I want to put other people in position. I don't want to miss the next me when I become me.
Okay.
Because I felt like certain people was missing out on the next them because they were so focused on being them. And that's okay. I don't even say that with a way. It's just real. Everybody got their own shit going on. And certain things ain't always meant, whatever. But that's what I want at the end of it. A legacy. Word.
Right. I get that. I do appreciate the fact that you keep pushing, because I think when you're making music, it is a journey, and anything you do in entertainment, I had people tell me years ago, enjoy the journey. You know what I mean? Enjoy the process. So it's like, shout out to you for keep going. I've heard rappers that are very successful say the only difference between them and the person who didn't make it is the fact that they didn't give up. So I always let that stick to me. I'm like,
Respect. Yeah, definitely.
yeah. And thank you for your time. I appreciate you. And thank you for everybody that tuned into the live and showed support. Definitely
Thank you for the platform. I appreciate you too, and I wish you the best. Like I said, I know you from a little while back, and I see you, taking pictures, using the cut like me at that time. I think you was a little more in the circle than me for some, but I see you doing your thing now. Is what I'm saying. I see you really doing your thing, and I seen the BET. You was working BET Awards. Like, that's what's up. It's dope to see progress from anyone else that's just trying to get in the same space that we in. It's not easy for any of us. So.
No,
yeah, respect to you.
No, that's a fact. Thank you. And same to you. And I appreciate everybody being in here. And everybody, please have a wonderful night.
That's all. Talk to you soon.
All right. Later.